It's a question that has plagued many a LEGO collector. What do I do with all these empty boxes? Are they worth keeping, or should I just dump them? I've personally been holding on to every one of mine since I started collecting in 2017, and let's just say that continuing to do so is becoming a bit difficult. So in this video I'm going to explore this topic a bit and hopefully decide what to do with these things once and for all. First things first though, what is the problem? Why shouldn't I store my boxes? Well, the main reason is obviously that they take up way too much space. Why would you dedicate an entire room or even a corner of a room to storing these things instead of putting more sets there? Also, these boxes are rarely even that desirable or good looking. Maybe you like the 18 plus boxes, or maybe you have some of the older designs from a time where they actually put effort into these artworks. But what is so special about that Speed Champions box, or that buildable Yoda box, or those Battle Pack boxes that you just can't bear the thought of getting rid of them? Do these boxes elicit any response from you at all? I feel nothing looking at these, so why do I still have them? The only real reason I can think of to keep these is the resale value. These boxes might not have any value to me, but if I'm selling a used set, surely including the original box will increase the value of the set, right? Well, yes, actually they do. According to brickwhisperer.com, a used LEGO set with its instruction manuals and original box sells for on average 10.5% more than selling it without either. His sample size was fairly small, and I imagine this figure varies dramatically depending on the age, rarity, and the original price of the set, but in principle it makes sense. Like, if you were buying a used LEGO set, you would pay a little extra to get the full package. But to be thorough, I went and did a little bit of my own research looking at 10 sets I know have increased in value since retirement, and what I found tells a similar story. You can pause the video if you're interested, but the gist of it is that you can get, on average, 33.72% more for your used set if you sell it with the original box, which is pretty significant. But here's the thing though, if you're planning on reselling a LEGO set, and you can see this in the spreadsheet, it's obviously way more lucrative to keep it sealed in its box. The set is going to lose, on average, long term, something like 52% of its value the second you break the seals, so if you really wanted to maximize resale value, then you should never even open them to begin with. But I don't love that mindset. If there's a set out there that you like the look of, or maybe you were gifted a really valuable one and you're debating opening it because of this, I say fuck the resale value. Have some fun, build it, experience it, enjoy it. That's why we do this at all. If you think a set is going to rise in value over time and you want to gamble a little and have some fun with LEGO investing, then I think that should be separate to your hobby. The whole point of having a hobby like this is to enjoy yourself regardless of cost, and I've seen one too many should I open it posts on Reddit to not at least say that much. Personally, what I would do is buy two of the set, open and enjoy one of them, dumping the boxes and everything, and keep the other one completely sealed, unrelated to the first one. It would take up just as much room as an empty box, but it would retain its full value should it appreciate over time. And if you do buy a copy of a set, even if it doesn't skyrocket in value after retirement, LEGO usually retains most of its value anyway, so you can be pretty confident that you can get most of, if not all of your money back on the second set investment, but without the stress of potentially ruining the resale value of the one you've opened. This isn't financial advice or anything, and it's definitely not guaranteed. I'm just sharing my thought process on the whole thing. Plus, if you're like me, which I kind of hope you are because my yapping kind of depends on that, you've never actually sold one of your sets before. If I buy a set, it's because I liked it and wanted it. It's extremely rare that I fall out of love with the set, and it's even rarer still that I fall out of love with it so much that I actually want to get rid of it. Okay, but what if that does happen? What if I really loved Stranger Things or Overwatch when I bought the sets, but then as time went on I found myself losing interest in them or even actively disliking them altogether? If I had gotten rid of the boxes in this scenario, then that would have cost me some considerable money. And yeah, that's true. But it is an exceptionally rare scenario that I definitely don't think warrants keeping every box for every set you ever get for the rest of time, just in case you fall out of love with some of them. Even if you fall out of love with one of them, it's LEGO. You can disassemble it. You can use those pieces to build something new, or add the pieces to another set to bulk it up. Or if you really aren't bothered with any of that, you can even just sell the pieces individually on Bricklink. But even if you do sell the set as it is in the scenario box list, and you end up just taking the loss on that extra 33% you could have gotten with the box, that's really not the end of the world. But even if it does really bother you, like let's say to a point that you just can't stomach that potential loss, I still think it's definitely not worth keeping every box ever just in case. I'd rather mentally spend that 33% just for the extra space and the peace of mind and freedom to just dump them without even thinking about it. Okay, but what if I bought a set, built it, enjoyed it, but I know I don't want to keep it? Well, there are people who buy sets exclusively for the build experience, and once they're done with them, they just disassemble them, pack them up, and sell them off again for a bit below retail. If you are one of these people, then of course keep the box because you know you're going to be selling it. Similarly, for some collectors who are very tight on space, one strategy I've seen is dedicating exactly one bookcase or shelf to the hobby, and whenever a new set grabs your attention, you sell off your least favorite set from your collection and replace it with the new one, like a rotating, constantly evolving, but never growing collection. If you do this, then of course keep your boxes because you know there's a good chance you'll need them. But if you're like me, and you're lucky enough to have an ever-expanding and never-shrinking collection, then I just don't see the point in keeping your boxes. It simply doesn't make any sense. And another reason to stop aimlessly hoarding them is that these boxes are actually worth some money. Again, depending on the rarity. I've seen boxes on eBay go for 10, 20, even like 45, 60 or 85 euro. Most of the time though, the 2 or 3 euro you'd get from these might not be worth the time and effort of selling them, especially if you have a large collection of like 100 or 200 boxes to get rid of. Either way, the point I'm getting at is that these boxes just gathering dust in your room are only worth something if you decide to sell them, with or without the used set inside them. And I think just holding on to them based on potentially maybe selling them in the future isn't just costing you space, but in a way actively costing you the money you'd be trying to hypothetically make back by keeping them. So what's the conclusion then? That was a lot of talking, but what do I actually do with them? I think the only reasons why you should ever keep these empty boxes are A, you actually like your empty boxes, but in that case then I don't need to tell you to keep them. B, you plan to repurpose the box for something actually useful like storage or some arts and crafts, like maybe a Halloween costume or something. Or, most crucially, you originally bought the set with full intentions to sell it and there was never a world where you keep it. Outside of these reasons, I just don't think it makes any sense to dedicate an entire section of your home to storing these boxes for sets that you love and you know yourself that you have no intention of ever selling, purely on the off chance that you suddenly hate them. And not only do you suddenly hate them, you don't even want to disassemble them, gift them, or repurpose them. Like, you need to sell them. And you badly want that extra 33% on top of what you'd normally get for it. It just feels like such a constant, tangible, worsening inconvenience just to come away slightly better off in this specific, avoidable situation that will in all likelihood never actually happen. So I guess that's my decision made. I think I'm gonna go through the boxes I have and see if any are worth selling, and if I decide I'm just not bothered, I'll dump them. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it either way. I hope this helped you make your decision, or at least give you some food for thought. Thanks for watching, and farewell.